most important thing that I learned from this session was everything starts within us.
The main thing that I've learned from here is that we should self-employ and self-improve, and we should believe in ourselves and love ourselves.
Smiling faces, crying hearts, right? We see smiling faces on the social media, but actually people are crying inside, right? That is actually the reality that we're...
There's a famous statement by Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi. He said, "I must become the change that I wish to see in others," and that requires energy. Let me practice being a bit more patient. Oh, I tend to not be so organized when I'm doing things. Let me put some effort, some energy.
If you want to really compare yourself, you should compare yourself from who you were yesterday. The gap between expectation and reality creates stress, and therefore comparing, complaining and criticizing, these are the cancers of the mind.
I realized that everyone has something valuable to contribute.
I enjoyed the inspiring atmosphere and the energy of discussion. Meeting new people was very interesting.
The guests of our event, they are very successful persons in their life, and we can have very big ideas from them.
It's important to have this Changemaker like event because they can just, as I say, can improve themselves and have a fairer and a sustainable future.
We just delivered an amazing session. The students were fantastic, asking lots of questions. We went deep and giving practical insights. Absolutely phenomenal event.
We had an excellent conversation for over 2.5 hours, talking to a whole group of more than 500 students on what are some of the challenges the student community faces and how they can actually be focused to become conscious change makers.
Great audience, very, very inquisitive, great questions, very intelligent. And we were talking about some of the principles of being conscious change makers, what it means, and how we can go on that particular journey.
We are here.
Salam, her vaxtınız xeyir olsun. Hello everyone, I will be speaking English throughout the whole time, but I just wanted to say salam to everyone. Thank you for being here. I am Jamila Musaiva. I am an etiquette author and a YouTuber as well. So today I'll be the moderator for today's evening with a wonderful panel of great speakers that I will introduce to you shortly. But before I do so, I would kindly ask you to put your phones on silent as an way of showing our appreciation for the guests and the attention we're trying to give them throughout this whole lecture. We will be listening to very insightful lectures by esteemed guests, and after the lectures we're going to have a Q&A session, which means questions and answers. So prepare your questions, think about what you want to ask them, and you'll have a chance to do so. Okay? So I will be looking at my notes. I would like to introduce the first guest, Auranga Das. Auranga Das is a global spiritual leader, inspirational speaker, and social reformer who presents timely Vedic wisdom and practical ways. As a director for an award-winning Governance Eco-Village, he has pioneered sustainability and community development recognized by United Nations. A faculty member of IIM Nagpur and international voice at forums like the G20 Summit, he continues to inspire leaders and communities worldwide with his vision of spirituality, resilience, and sustainable living. Please applaud Auranga Das. Thank you and welcome to Baku. The next guest is Ed Anobah. Ed Anobah is a thought leader in personal development with over 25 years of experience. A graduate of London School of Economics, he blends Eastern wisdom and modern thinking through his realized knowledge system. As an international speaker, mentor, and a host of Anobah podcast, he is known for his clarity, insight, and transformative approach to leadership and personal growth. Thank you so much for being with us and welcome. Last but not least, now a friend of mine, Rajiv Nandha. Rajiv is a purpose-driven leader, executive coach, and a global speaker, co-founder and CEO of Thinking Ltd. With a background as a clinical pharmacist and a former NHS consultant, he has led nationally recognized well-being programs talking burnout and resilience in healthcare. He designs award-winning educational projects, lectures internationally, and coaches leaders to foster values-led, resilient cultures. Blending Eastern philosophy with evidence-based practice, Rajiv drives personal and organizational transformation. Beyond his professional work, he leads Food for Life London, providing thousands of meals daily to underserved communities. Welcome, Rajiv, again to Baku. With a short introduction of the guests, the floor is now open to the first speaker, Rajiv Nandha.
Let's give a round of applause to Jamila. She's a wonderful host and moderator. And, hopefully we're all in line with our etiquettes today. Thank you everyone for being here. It's our second time. We loved it here so much when we came here in March that we had to come back. And I was telling our speakers, who are very difficult to get here, they're so busy, their schedule's so busy. I said, you have to come, especially the university, because these students are amazing. They're such a great audience. They're so enthusiastic. So give yourself a round of applause. Yes. So I'm going to do something a little bit unconventional. So you're going to have to go with me here. I need approximately 7 volunteers. 7 volunteers? Okay. Can you guys come to the front? Yep. Whoever comes first. Just, sure. 7. Okay. And I want you to all stand in a line. Maybe if we got more than 7, that's okay. How many have we got? 9. Okay, 9's a good number. 9's a lucky number. Okay, good. Okay, I want you to all face this way. Everyone face this way. So you need to fully look this way. So everybody, like fully, like your body needs to turn completely this way. So you can't see each other. Fully. Yes. And then just maybe give some space to yourself. And what we're going to do, a little experiment here. So this is Sunny. Sunny's flown in from London, and he's our videographer, head of videography. So he's an amazing person. So what we're going to do, now all of you volunteers, you have to face this way, you can't look back. Okay, what we're going to do is Sunny's going to do something, and he's going to show the next person, and then the next person is going to remember it and show the next person. Okay? So I'm going to tap you on the shoulder, and you can turn around. And now Shani's going to show you something, and then you can only look at it once, and then you'll turn around and repeat it to the next person. 4, like what I showed you. Okay, you got to turn around fully. Turn around fully. Yeah. Okay. So okay, you got to turn around. Turn around. Just one of you. You got to turn back around. Okay. Finally. Okay, let's see what we have. Okay, now, wait. Now you've got to do it to the rest of the audience. Okay, ready? Whatever you just learned, you got to show to the rest of the audience. Okay, let's see. What was the move? Okay, sure. Okay, give him a round of applause. Okay, great, great. Okay, you guys can sit back down. They were amazing, right? So, so you can see the move we started with to the move we ended up with. How different was it? Huh? It was something completely different. I think we ended up with a bit of a karate move here, and then we ended up with a dance move here, isn't it? You see, it's an interesting experiment how when we pass things on from one to another, over time things change. How we interpret things, how we see things, things change. And this is the same that goes for when we look at making conscious change, making an impact, and actually going back to the source. They say when there is a lie, and if that lie is repeated enough, if it's repeated many times, then it becomes a truth, a so-called truth. And over generations, if that so-called truth continues, it becomes a tradition. And if that tradition continues over time, then it becomes a culture. And that culture is embedded. So there's many, many things in society today that we think is culture, we think is normal, but actually it's based on a lie, right? It's based on an untruth. So that real positive truth that we've taken along the lines, it's been lost. Now there's many lies out there that we believe that is true, but actually it's not. Maybe I'm just going to get the audience to also give me some examples. What's a lie that you can think of in society today that we believe as society is true, but is actually false? I'll start you off with one. Having lots of money in your bank account makes you happy. Gauranga Das, how much money do you have in your bank account? 0. And he's the happiest person in this room. You can tell, right? Okay. So that's one. Beauty is on the outside, right? We get told that good looks and how you look is what makes you beautiful, right? But is that true? Is that true? No. Can you guys tell me some examples? Maybe we can get the mic. Yeah? Okay, yeah, people can't change, but it's... Yeah, just repeat so everyone can hear. Oh, this one, yeah. Maybe a few of you others can get ready as well. Just give me one or two. Yeah.
Some people believe that people cannot change at all. Like how you build your personality at your 18th, you will like live in this style for like your whole life. But I think it's not true because people can change if they want. They can develop themselves. They can change their personality at all to the different person.
Brilliant, brilliant. That. Yeah, you can change. That's a really good example. Thank you so much for sharing that. Any more? Maybe we take two more. What's another lie that society tells us that we think is true, but it's actually false? Yeah. And then you? Yeah.
So there's a lie that many people believe is that if you haven't figured your life out in like in your 20s, then you're doomed. But there's a lot of people that has gained career and like reached their life goals after 40, after 50, etc.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, absolutely. That's beautiful. Okay. And you? Yeah,
I think the another lie is to fit in a life, because some people say that you have to fit in something, you have to fit in some situation and stuff. But I don't think that's true, because this is a life that we are going through, and we don't have to fit in something. We just have to live it happily and however we want.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Then one more or two more? Yeah. You can stand up.
A common mistake everyone thinks is right. The sun's rise, actually, the Earth rotates.
The sun rises and the earth rotates?
The sunrise is mistake.
Yeah.
Actually, is the Earth rotates.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. That's, yeah, amazing. That we went to the moon. We got a few more. Let's just get a few more quickly. Is the mic's on, right? Yeah.
Like some people say that the people who is older than you is smarter than you. I think this is so like untrue. It's not correct because like I have some friends that who listen to their parents and they feel a lot. And I think that's the one thing that society says a lot, and that's untrue. It's not true.
That's a beautiful one, yeah. They say, actually what they say is most people, they live till 25 and they learn up until 25, but then after 25 people stop learning. So how the correlation works is after 25 your knowledge is the same as anybody who's 45, but what's different is how much, because you're stopping education, but what's different is how much you reflect on life, how much you reflect on the things that happen to you. So those who are more introspective, that go inward and learn from the lessons that life teaches them, they actually are more progressive and know more, right? So it's not just about how old you are, yeah? Exactly. And life is about learning. Life is about constant education. Brilliant. We'll take the last one. Last one.
More people in the world believe that what we share in the social media,
yes,
all of them is true, but actually it's not. There are big backward. If I share my happy moments, but maybe I'm not actually, but I share just for everyone see it and said, oh, Nuray is so happy, but actually it's not maybe.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Smiling faces, crying hearts, right? We see smiling faces on the social media, but actually people are crying inside, right? That is actually the reality that we're going for. See, I told you they're amazing, right? So you guys are absolutely amazing. And yeah, these are certain lies that we're told in society that then become a tradition or become a culture. And this is what conscious impact's really about, is how can we get to the root, how can we rethink, and how can we really reset the cultures of society based on universal truths, universal principles. So I'm now going to hand over to our next speaker. And just to say, you guys are at UNEC University. Ed has studied at LSE, which is one of the world's best universities of economics. And he's a conscious change maker. And Garangadas has studied at IIT, which is the most prestigious university in India. And it's really difficult to get in. And he is a conscious change maker. Now, both of them, one is a professional and another is a monk, right? Living a monastic life. Both are making equal impact in society. If you look at the people they've mentored, if you add up their social media right now, how well they're doing, it must be over 50 million people. And if you look at how much influential people they actually impact, we're talking billions. So these guys are real conscious change makers. And I'm very excited for you guys to learn and listen from them. Keep it very interactive. Keep engaging with the audience and pay attention, because really what you're going to learn now is going to be really deep and profound. So yeah, let's give Ed a big round of applause.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Let's try that again. Can you all hear me? Okay, I just want to make sure everyone's alive in the room. Okay, excellent. So first of all, it's a real pleasure to be here with such esteemed speakers. So it's really wonderful. So I flew in yesterday to your beautiful country, and I was very excited to speak to you about this topic. And the reason why I was so excited is because this world is in need of your conscious change. There's a great power that lies in the younger generation. Every time we look at society, we are seeing the thought patterns of the previous generations of individuals. There's pattern and there's also potential. We live in the pattern, but within the hearts of each and every one of you in this room lies the potential. I want you to take a moment to think about that and let that sink in. We often have a society where people are reactive to what's going on. What we desperately need is a society who are aspiring for what can be. And that gift, that power, lies it within the heart of each and every one of you. I heard a story many years ago. It's a very powerful story that speaks to this idea of being a game changer, because it speaks to the idea of seeing things differently, feeling things differently, and doing things differently. Raise your hand if you would like to make a positive impact in your society and the world at large. Raise your hands. Okay, so follow me on this, and we're going to unpack this together. There's a story of a teacher, a guru, and he has 2 students. And the guru wanted to test his students. He wanted to see who has the power, the forward thinking, the insight to make a conscious change, to change the paradigm. So the guru decided to test his students. So what he did is, this was actually set in India. So he gave them all some money, right? So Indian currency is called rupees. So he gave each of the students the same number of coins, rupees. And he took them to a particular building and he showed them 2 rooms. So room A and room B. And he told the students, he said, each of you, I'll give you 1 room. So they said to one student, your room is room A. He told the other student, your room is room B. He said to them, I've given you both the same amount of money. Your task, the task that I'm setting both of you, the same task, is to use your money in whichever way you want to fill up your room as much as possible. Okay? That was his ask. I want you to fill up, you've got a room each. I've given you some money. You need to find a way to use that money to fill up your room as much as you possibly can. So both of the students were a little bit concerned. You know what it's like when you have an exam, right? You know what I'm talking about? And you're a little bit concerned, oh, how's this going to work out? Am I going to pass this exam? So one student, he went to the marketplace. He only had a few coins. He decided, what's the cheapest thing I could buy with these coins? He bought loads of cheap rags, old clothes, and he just got them and he threw them into the room. It didn't fill up much space, but he thought that's the best I could do with the money that I was given. The second student was a game changer. The second student had mastered the art of looking at life from a different perspective. And that second student therefore used his money in a slightly but profoundly different way. Later on, the teacher came to see those 2 rooms. And so he first of all went to the first student who had filled the room or tried to fill the room with some rags. And so as he was coming, the student was really nervous. My teacher's going to see what I've done. The teacher went into the room, saw the room was largely empty, some rags in the corner. The student was thinking, I don't know what my teacher's going to say. Is he going to be upset? Is he going to be okay? I did the best that I could. The teacher said nothing. He was completely silent. Now, the teacher was about to go into the second room of the other student. Before he went in, the student stopped him. And the student said to him, my dear teacher, before you go in, I need to give you something. And the teacher looked surprised. What is it you need to give me? And the student handed the teacher back some of the money. And the teacher was very surprised. You're giving me back the money that I said you should use to fill up the room. And the student said, I did what you asked and there was some money left over. So I wanted to give you back the extra money. Now the teacher was really surprised. How is it possible that he's done what I've asked him to do and he still has some money left over? The student said to the teacher, before you go in, I just want you to know that not only did I do what you asked me to do, but I filled the room twice. Not once, I filled the room twice. Now the teacher was really surprised. How is that possible? The teacher went into that room. There were two things only in the room. The first was a candle. So in that room, there was one candle that was lit up, and the light from the candle was filling up the entire room. In that room also, along with the candle, there was one stick of incense, which was burning. And the room was filled with the fragrance of the incense. That second student was a game changer. He had filled the room twice, but he had done so by changing the way that he looked at the challenge. Sometimes in our lives, what we need in order to make the world a better place, sometimes what we need to make a profound shift in how things are going to be done, sometimes what we need to do in order to really move humanity forward is nothing more than a shift in perspective. I've been doing some very amazing study because I'm always very deeply into these topics, and we train leaders, young leaders, old leaders across the entire globe. And I'm always looking for these secrets. How do we become conscious game changers? What is the essential difference that the most powerful, impactful people do that the other people don't do? And this first gift is the gift of seeing things differently. We see that when we change our perspective on things, the things that we look at actually change. How many of you have ever had friends who are having some difficulties in either their friendships or relationships? Raise your hands. Okay. This is one interesting example. The research I was doing showed me something very, very powerful. And that is, for the vast majority of us, for the vast majority of humanity, our external relationships are a direct reflection on the relationships that we have within ourselves. Can anyone relate to that? You see, sometimes if I'm at war inside myself, I'm unhappy, I'm disturbed, I'm not happy, I'm not satisfied, I'm confused. If I'm feeling that within my heart, that can start to spill over into the relationships that I have with other people. Just a quick show of hands. Who's ever seen that happen, that you saw someone and you could distinctly tell that because they're unhappy inside themselves, it's now coming out in the way that they deal with other people? Raise your hand if you've seen that. Isn't that interesting? We know these truths intuitively. So when we talk about spirituality, what we are really doing is we are coming back to ancient truths that we all hear whispered within our hearts on a day-to-day basis. But what happens is very interesting. We hear the whisper of these truths in our hearts, but that voice within is overpowered by so many different types of noise that comes out into the world. So real game changers means individuals who know how to be empowered. Real game changers means individuals who know how to empower other people. Real game changers, conscious game changers, are individuals who know how to bring the best out of their own potential. I want to leave you, therefore, with 4 tools for changing the society. 4 tools for becoming young, conscious change makers. And I'm gonna ask you to be involved in this, okay? By the way, is that okay? Okay, I need your inspiration and your insights. When I'm not speaking to you, we're going to learn this together. So if we look at these 4 key tools to take away, if you remember nothing else in today's seminar, if you remember these 4 tools, it can really empower you in that conscious change-making space. And I would love to see you successful and making a powerful impact on your society and the world. So the 4 tools are represented by these 4 words, G-A-M-E. So repeat it after me, G-A-M-E. Okay, the first one, G. G stands for growth. I cannot give you more than I actually have myself. So the first principle of being a conscious game changer is someone who is dedicated to their own growth, their own development. Feel free to write this down if you wish to, or lock it away in your memory, whatever works for you. What we have in our society are many people who want to make a difference, but are not watering the root, not working on themselves. So this is where I want to get you involved. I'd like a show of hands. I'd like someone to answer this question. What's the negative impact on me, on my life, and on other people who I'm around if I do not invest in my own development and growth? I'd love to hear one of you just raise your hand and give me an answer. What happens to me as a person if I don't invest in my own growth and development? Who would like to answer? I can see a few hands. I'm going to go to yourself because you're nearer actually. Okay, nice loud voice. So what happens to me?
Can you repeat the 3 questions, please?
Sorry?
Can you repeat the 3 questions, please?
So the first question, what happens to me as a person if I don't invest in my own growth and development?
First of all, people, when they are not progressing, they are regressing. So we not only not gaining the new things for ourselves, but also we are losing that we have already in our life. So we can forget some vital things, forget some even vital information, vital people from our life. And it leads to the huge problems in the future. So I think we should invest, firstly, not to forget our knowledge that we gained before, and also for changing not only ourselves but our life to the better circumstances. For example, all the people in our life depends on our mood or either. So if we are happy, we can make happy others. If we are smart, we can make smarter others.
Absolutely fantastic. Give her a round of applause, please. We're going to hear from one more. I'm going to hear from one more because I saw your hand up as well. So what happens if a person does not invest in his or her growth and development?
I think if I give an example for myself,
Yes.
it's just the thing that if we don't invest for ourselves, we got depressed and frustrated. And the things we see for the future, we just can't see it. For example, I have a goal and I want to do it, but I don't invest. It's not about just money. It's about feelings and emotional investing. If I don't do it, I just can't focus on the things that I want to improve or reach the goals. So we got depressed, and that's not the best way of living, I think.
Fantastic. Again, thank you for that. So the first of these 4 letters, game, G stands for growth. I want to invite all of you. My own teacher was very much about how we apply wisdom. So please do not take this as just a talk. Please take this as tools for life that can make sure that you're on the cutting edge and that you're making an impact. So number 1 is personal growth. That's the G. A stands for attention. Have you noticed that it's harder and harder to pay attention nowadays? Anyone have found that experience? We have social media and everything is so fast, right? The average video on social media, it can go viral. It can be 2 or 3 seconds long, whatever it is. And so we're in a war, ladies and gentlemen. There's a war for your attention. In the spiritual traditions of the Eastern world, there's a beautiful understanding. And this, please get this carefully. There's a very potent and beautiful understanding that attention is the seed of love. I sometimes do sessions on how to empower young people. And I'm going to ask you this question. Whether it's a teacher, a mentor, a friend, when you're speaking to someone and you see that they're really interested in what you have to say, They really care about your opinion. They really want to understand your perspective. Take a moment to think about this. When someone is giving you that full attention, what message are they sending about your value? Okay, I'd like someone to answer that question. When someone gives you their full attention, what message are they sending you about your value and your self-worth? I'm going to go to this gentleman here. If you could pass the microphone over, please. I'll just check I'm not going over time.
I think if my teacher or my colleague is giving her full attention to me, they are respecting my opinions and caring about me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Give me a round of applause. Respecting my opinion and caring about me. One of the biggest killers of our potential is a lack of self-love and a lack of confidence. So there's studies on where our self-confidence comes from, where our self-esteem comes from. I think Rajiv's organized for me to speak something on this self-esteem. We have a model on how to build healthy self-esteem, which we'll be talking about at some point this weekend. Attention is the seed of love. How many of you know people in your friendship circles who are not achieving their full potential because they don't believe in their ability to do so? Okay, isn't that interesting? There are techniques to change this. I repeat that. This is a really important point to understand. Some of the things I'm sharing with you are things that I wished people had shared with me when I was your age. There's a technique or there are processes to change this. Many of the people that you see in the world who seem to have impact, they're not real game changers. Sounds strange, isn't it? Because I'm saying they've had impact, and I'm saying at the same time they're not real game changers. Because from a deeper wisdom perspective, there's a difference between someone who tries to do big things in the world because they feel insecure and they feel that they're not valuable. And so all of their achievements in the world is really a desperate attempt. Please look at me. Please pay attention to me. Please validate me. What we're talking about here is something completely different. This idea of being a conscious change maker, this means change is happening from the inside out. It means what I'm giving to the world is a spillover of the joy, happiness, wisdom, insight, love that I have within my heart. So this A stands for attention. We're going to encourage you in giving healthy attention to yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and even on what we call sometimes a spiritual level, nourishing ourselves on all levels. Because if you're in good shape, if you are in good condition, if you're caring for yourself in all these areas, you will naturally spill over that joy, wisdom, insight, dynamism, care, power, strength. It will naturally radiate out of you into every single relationship that you have, and it will do so naturally. So G stands for what? Growth. A stands for attention. Now we come to M. M, interestingly enough, it stands for meditation or mindfulness. This is a very secret key to success. Many people are living life so much outside that they forget to stop and take a moment to reflect inside. There was a beautiful story someone told me many years ago. They told me that there was a story, an ancient story, and there were these higher beings, and they were discussing, where can we hide the secret of success? And they wanted to hide the secret of success so that humanity would never, ever find that secret. So what did they do? One of them said, let's hide it at the peak of the highest mountain. And then they started to discuss, should we do it? It's a good idea. And they thought to themselves, no. If we hide it at the peak of the highest mountain, at some point, humans will get to the top of the highest mountain and they'll find the secret of success. We shouldn't do that. It's a bad idea. They discussed a bit more. And another one said, I've got an idea. We should hide it at the bottom of the deepest ocean. because we know they won't get there. So no, they said they'll eventually get some way to get to the bottom of the ocean, and they'll find the secret of success there. Now, there was one of these higher beings who was exceptionally intelligent and clever. And he had just been listening. He'd just been meditating on the discussion. And he told everyone, he said, I figured it out. I know where we should hide the secret of success. He's told everyone, he said, we should hide the secret of success within the human being themselves. And he said, the reason why we should hide the secret of success within the human beings themselves is because that is the one place that they will never think of looking. Think about it. So this M, this stands for meditation or mindfulness. Has anyone ever done any kind of meditation before? Raise your hands. Okay. So I'd like to know what was, for someone who did meditation and they got some benefit from it, let's put it that way. I'd like to hear from one person, what were some of the benefits? What changed? What did you experience by doing some meditation? I'm going to start with yourself. Okay, so nice loud voice. What were some things that you experienced?
So when I was doing meditation, the one thing that I observed was that I was so confused, and I didn't have any time to pay attention to myself. I was already like in the chaos of the outer world.
Yes.
So I recommend everyone to do meditation because it really gives you time to focus on yourself, on your own well-being, and it really is a way to discover yourself, really, your strengths, weaknesses, and as you said, your key of success is also inside you. I really believe that message. So everyone should pay attention to inside them.
Thank you very much. Give them a round of applause, please. That was a brilliant advertising for meditation. We'll have one more person. I want someone, actually on this side, because we've had quite a few on this side. We'll have one more person on this side. So what did you experience? What was some positive benefit that you experienced from meditation, please?
Actually, I agree with you with everything what you said, because I'm also who doing a meditation and this kind of things, because I think that it's really improving your brain memory, and it increases your relaxation. Yes. And also you just don't pay attention to some nervous things around you, and you being very calm and talkative, more positively with people around you, and just like, I actually agree with everything with you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Give me a round of applause. Okay, so G stands for growth, A stands for, M stands for meditation or mindfulness, absolutely. And there's one letter left. The last letter, E, correct. The last letter was E. In order to make a difference, we need to also have energy. Okay, growth, attention, meditation, but also energy. In order to make a difference, we need to have energy, but energy going in two directions. This idea of impact means energy going outside, absolutely. But we can also use energy to go inside, right? We can work on ourselves. We can use some effort and energy to upgrade our mentality, to raise our consciousness, to see what can I do to be a better person so I can help the world, so I can help society more. Everyone tends to think that other people need to change. Isn't that interesting? This whole world, everyone would be happy if this person stopped doing this or this person stopped doing that. But the deep spiritual wisdom of the East says, yes, there's some truth to that. But the best way to help anyone to grow is for them to see how we are growing. There's a famous statement by Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi. He said, I must become the change that I wish to see in others. And that requires energy, right? It requires energy, it requires effort. Because if we are ready to do some of that work on myself, I tend to get a bit angry unnecessarily. Let me work on that. Let me practice being a bit more patient. I tend to not be so organized when I'm doing things. Let me put some effort, some energy into that. If I make that change, then your own example is so powerful that you don't even have to speak to people. People see the example of who you are by your behavior, your character, and these impacts that you're making. The impact is a natural result of who you are. So I'm so grateful to be here with all of you, sharing some of these tools, 4 tools that we spoke about. G standing for, A standing for, M standing for, E standing for, energy. If we want to be conscious game changers, we want to grow, we want to learn to develop attention, we want to be meditative, right? Meditation in all traditions is very, very powerful. In certain spiritual traditions, they talk about meditations on sacred names, mantras, etc. Very, very powerful. And E stands for energy, because nothing changes without energy. I'm just looking to see how I'm doing for time. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I want to say it's been wonderful communicating with all of you. My own teacher used to tell us, he said the best way to learn anything is to do what? Is to teach it, to explain it. So in one sense, I should be thanking each and every one of you, because as we've been sharing together, learning from each other together, we can also grow together and become conscious change makers together. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Rajiv and Ed. And thanks to Jamila for welcoming us. It's my honor and privilege to be here in the midst of all of you here in this esteemed university, UNEC. This is my first visit to Azerbaijan, and I'm already blown away by the beauty of this place. And I congratulate all of you for being such amazing, attentive audience, one of the best audience I've ever seen. Give yourself a big hand. So I'll just speak. He spoke 4 points, but I'm the last speaker. So I'll just speak 1 point because I want the audience to stay. And the most important principle required for conscious change is to avoid comparison and focus on contribution. Avoid comparison and focus on contribution. How many of you have experience of being negatively affected because of comparing? Can you just share a story? Who raised the hand? Sorry. You have a mic? Tell me your name.
What?
Your name?
Ali.
Ali.
Yes. Like when I was a child, my parents always compared me with other students in the school. So that affected me so bad, so negativizing. So that there was some students that always like A students. I was a B student. So they like, it's a big trauma for me, actually. It's come from the childhood, but I think it affects my life at that point.
Give him a big round of applause. Thank you, Ali, for sharing that. Anyone else? Yes. Tell me your name.
Aisha. My name is
Aisha. Yes.
So for the last 2 years, actually, I don't do that anymore, but actually 2 years ago, we were preparing for exam for entering the university. And beside that, one of my friend was very successful in learning a language, English language, also preparing for exams and also personal growth. I always just compared myself to him that he does that, so you have to do that too. You have to, why can't you do that? I remember when I go home, I started crying that I can't do it anymore and stuff. So Then I learned to watch some YouTube videos about personal growth, self-development, leadership and stuff. And one thing I learned was stop comparing. Like if I compare myself to him, like everyone has their own life path. So everyone goes in that way. So I have, maybe he has that, I have a different one to success. So I will go my own path and I don't compare anymore.
Thank you. Thank you, Aisha. Give her a big round of applause. Yeah. What's your name?
Aysun Ayublu.
What's your story?
Actually, I want to share you a positive story with you. Thanks to my mom, she told me and teach me don't compare you with anyone.
That's a great point.
Thanks to her, she told me that everyone has different story and different life, different changes, different different hardness. So that's a positive story. But though my mother say it to me, of course I compare myself with others. But after the times, I stop it because I really agree with my mother about this content.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Fantastic. So, as Rajiv shared with all of you that I went to IIT Mumbai. How many of you have heard of IIT in India, Indian Institute of Technology? How many of you have heard of Sundar Pichai? How many of you have heard of Google? Yes, Google. Okay, so the CEO of Google is Sundar Pichai. So he's my classmate and he went to college with me. I went to IIT Mumbai, he went to IIT Kharagpur. 89-93, I passed out in 93 with a degree in engineering, and then I became a monk. So now I'm 54 years old, last 33 years I'm a monk, and many times people say that from engineering to monk, what's going on? What happened? Some relationship problem? Why suddenly like this? So I have a story where one of my friends tried to commit suicide in the last year, and he was an extremely good student. He would always come at the top of the class. So we asked him, why did you try to commit suicide? And his answer shocked us even more. He said, in every exam till now, I have always got the gold medal. I would always be number one. In this exam, I got the silver medal. I got the second, and I couldn't handle it. And I looked at him and said, people are dying to enter into IIT, and you are inside IIT trying to die? Doesn't make sense. In the same exam, I had 4 of my other friends. Same exam. 4 of my other friends, they failed in 5 subjects. Same exam. They failed in 5 subjects and they were moving around the campus peacefully, blissfully, blessing others. Relax, be cool. And I asked them, you guys are extremely shameless. This guy is trying to kill himself because he could not come at the top, and you have failed in 4 or 5 subjects. You are moving peacefully. What's your philosophy? And they said, our philosophy is simple. Entering into college is our job. Taking us out of college is college's job, not our job. So the whole idea is comparison based on expectation. So the gap between expectation and reality creates stress, and therefore comparing, complaining and criticizing, these are the cancers of the mind. Each one has their own capability. Each one has their own capacity. Each one has their own competence, and they must focus on how they can contribute. As they said about motivational speaking, there was a coach who came up and said, I'll help you become an expert motivational speaker. So the whole lot of people signed up. And this coach stood on the podium and he said, if you want to be an expert speaker, you should begin your speech with something dramatic. Begin the speech with something dramatic. And then everybody said, what's the meaning of dramatic opening? And this coach said, I'll give you an example of what's a dramatic opening. And he said, you should begin your speech with something like this. The best years of my life were spent in the arms of a woman who was not my wife. And everyone said, my God, what is this? This is a scam. And then he said, that woman was my mother. And they all said, wow, that's really dramatic. That's exciting. That's a great way of capturing people's attention. So one of the guys from that audience who graduated from that speaking school went to his village and advertised to everybody, I have become a speaker. Come to listen to me. And the whole village thought, hey, this guy was stupid. How could he be a speaker? Out of curiosity, they came. So there was a big crowd, and this guy stood on the podium, nervous, first time speaking in public. But he thought, I have been trained now. Plus, I have the opening line, dramatic. So he stood on the stage, nervous, shaking, mic in his hand, and he said, the best years of my life were spent in the arms of a woman who was not my wife. And then he was so nervous, he forgot the next line. And then he was trying and trying and trying to remember. And then he said, I can't remember who she was. So that's how we make a fool out of ourselves when we try to do something we are not meant to do. I was giving a talk at a jail. You know, jail, prison, where there are prisoners. You may have never been, but I have been many times to jail for giving lectures. And in front of me were 500 prisoners. And I love jail programs. I love jail programs. You know why? Because audience is guaranteed. You don't need advertisement. And so I gave a lecture, and the topic was, something spiritual. And after I gave my talk, I said, any questions? So one prisoner raised his hand and he said, I have a question. I said, ask. The prisoner said, I will come on the stage and ask the question. I got a little worried. This is a jail. We are dealing with criminals. And he wants to come on the stage and ask the question. So there was the commissioner of police standing right next to me. I asked him, who is he? Why does he want to come on the stage and ask the question? The commissioner whispered in my ear, he has committed 12 murders. I said, am I going to be 13th? Why he wants to come? He says, don't worry, let him come. So he came on the stage, asked this question, and then later I gave the answer and then talked to him and said, at such a young age, how could you commit so many crimes? And he said, when my mind is overwhelmed with anger, everything becomes blank. I become blinded. And why do I become angry? Because my desires don't get fulfilled. And those unfulfilled desires result in anger. And therefore, anger is one letter short of danger. When we get involved in comparison, we become angry with ourselves. We become angry with others. And we forget that we have the ability to contribute positively. And therefore, dear friends, the most important principle for you is to realize that as students and as human beings, you have the ability to contribute to the best of your ability without unnecessary comparison. One of my friends went to a conference. He saw somebody's business card, and in the card was written his name, and below the name was written educational qualification, which said PhD BF. He said, I understand PhD. What is BF? He said, PhD but fail. I said, my God, why do you have to make such a business card? He said, my father forced me to go to PhD. And then after 2 years, I realized I cannot handle it. I jumped out. And then I was asked to go to conferences because so my cousins were going. This cousin is going, that cousin is going, you are not going. What to do? I printed a business card which is honest. I wrote PhD and added BF but fail. But most people think BF is a degree beyond PhD. You are the first person who's asking in detail. So how many students across the world experience this trauma, this stress, this anxiety because of unnecessary comparison? The world needs change. Why? 8 billion population of the planet. Only 2 billion have disposable income. 6 billion population on the planet are poverty stricken and below poverty line. And therefore, if you want to really compare yourself, you should compare yourself from who you were yesterday and try to improve yourself from that position. And therefore, avoiding comparison will help you have total conviction in what you can offer. And when you have conviction in what you can possibly offer, then you come to the stage of positive contribution. And therefore, dear friends, all of you are at the peak of your youth. Today, 280 million people across the world are experiencing stress symptoms because of social media addiction. 70 million people, students in India, are addicted to social media. Mental health crisis is causing the world $1 trillion. 9 in 100,000 are committing suicides. And therefore, it's extremely important for each one of you to realize that the biggest change you need to make in your own life is upon yourself. First, you begin by changing yourself from being distracted, disconnected, discouraged, disempowered, distressed, to be determined, to be grateful, to be humble, to be honest, to be connected, to be contributing. And when you make that self-transformation, automatically the world transforms. After one of my lectures, I asked, any questions? Nobody raised their hand. And then I again said, any questions? Nobody raised their hand. Then finally one student raised his hand and said, I have a question, but you have already answered. I said, I'm curious. What is that question which I have already answered? And he took the mic and he said, my question was, when are you going to end your talk? So with that note, I end my talk so that you can actually have questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for your insightful talks. Very beautiful lecture. Honestly, I loved how we started with the game with Rajiv, and it was so funny how the first message ended up being completely different message at the end. And I think it goes to say that whatever you've been listening to today in the lecture, there's so much information. it's possible that you're going to forget 90% of what was said, but the 1% that will stay with you, I hope that you make something out of it. You turn it, as Ed was saying, you would turn it into a tool that you're going to apply in your real life. Not just something that you heard, but something that you can deeply implement in your daily lives. And of course, your lecture, it got me laughing, it got me inspired. Thank you so much, Gaudangadas, for your beautiful talk. With the anecdote or anecdotal story about the person who was trying to become something he was not meant to be, and how in the war of comparing ourselves, we tend to lose our authenticity. So we want to be like someone else, and in the process, we lose ourselves. So the last thing that I think I will take away from this is, no matter what you do, no matter what you aim to attain in life, never lose the sight of who you are, where you come from, and what you stand by. Of course, you can change, your personality can change, but make sure that you don't lose yourself in the hunt of attaining something that the society has forced us to believe means success and happiness. With that being said, I open the floor for questions. I'm really looking forward for good questions, so please don't be shy, ask questions, because this is a great opportunity for you to get answers from the experts in the field of making conscious young game changers. So, questions? Okay. Do we have someone who's standing? Okay, thank you.
I am interested by the one thing. We are want to develop ourselves. We want to change ourselves, but there's one problem: is burnout. How we can avoid burnouts, and what we can do not to lost our identity and our motivation and meaning. Why are we doing this? This is my question.
July? Who wants to answer, Ed? He's naturally.
Okay, so I'll start and then feel free, Rajiv, Garanga, to add. First of all, it's a very important and intelligent question. Thank you for asking that question. There's one way of defining burnout or stress is the distance between expectation and experience. So when I expect something and my experience is way below that, right? I thought something was going to be easy and it becomes very, very difficult. Ooh, very stressful, right? I'm doing an exam. I thought I could do well in the exam and the exam was much harder, stressful. So this distance between expectation and experience can be the cause of stress or burnout. What many people try to do is to always control the experience. A very underused strategy is to work on expectation. Right? So what does that mean practically? A few things. Garanga spoke very wonderfully about being authentic and doing things that we're meant to be doing. I speak to managers and leaders across the world, and I find that the people who are very, very able to have a sustained impact are people who've taken the time to really understand and live according to their nature and their strengths. You see? So where possible, first point is to try to information. Try to understand yourself, where your strengths are, and to try to live in that way, because then life will immediately be easier because you're doing things according to your ability, first of all. Second, this is why relationships are so important. There's a Sanskrit word, sambandha, which means relationship. Everything becomes easier when we do it with people who are supportive of us and who we can support. So one of our greatest inspirations and teachers gave an example. He said, you have one twig, by itself it can easily be broken. He said, but if you have many twigs together, many branches together, you can't break any of them. But why? Because each twig is supporting the others. So we can avoid burnout by understanding ourselves. We can avoid burnout by doing things according to our strengths. And we can avoid burnout by doing things with support. You see? These 3 factors. And by the way, one small thing on support. Support also means feedback. Your friend should be able to tell you, I think you're overdoing it here. Or let me help you with this, you know? And you should be able to say to your friend, I'm about to do this. How do you think I can do it in a way that's going to work for me? My teacher had a quote on a wall. It's a beautiful quote about friendship. He says, a friend is someone who understands the journey that you've been on, accepts you as you are, and still lovingly invites you to grow. So I can avoid burnout by self-understanding. I can avoid burnout by support, and I can avoid burnout by having feedback from those people who know me to help me to do things in a wise and healthy way. Okay, does that answer your question first of all? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we have next question. Can you please hand in the microphone? There was a guy over there. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Rajiv. Being happy is underrated or overrated action. What do you think?
That's the monk. He knows. He knows the secret too.
What's your question again?
Being happy is underrated or overrated action.
Okay.
What do you think about it?
Okay, being happy is underrated or overrated. So basically, when you look at happiness or joy, so there are 4 levels. First is at the sensual level. Like I take a cake or a cookie or an ice cream, it hits the tongue, it gives me some happiness. True. Then I listen to music. That gives me happiness. But it gives me more happiness because when I get absorbed in music, poetry, art, I forget the cookie, cake, and the ice cream also. So that is called happiness at mental level. So the first is sensual happiness. Second is mental or emotional happiness. Third is you see people playing chess, they can get absorbed for 10, 12 hours. They can forget sleep, they can forget eating because they are experiencing intellectual happiness. Or scientists who are problem solving. They're involved in solving a problem, fixing something. So that's higher. Higher than that is you come and say, I have become the topper. I have accomplished this. I have achieved this. That's called egoistical happiness. The happiness which one experiences at the level of the ego. So therefore, these are 4 different levels of happiness, each one higher than the next. And beyond all of this, at the topmost level is another happiness which never decreases. Because the problem with all these 4 happinesses, it has a beginning, it has an end. And number 2, it is unpredictable, unsteady. Anytime anything can change. So the 5th happiness is the happiness coming from the soul, the spirit within. And that is what is the spiritual happiness which all traditions are dealing with. So therefore, just like you go to a restaurant, you get a menu card. In menu card, you have different flavors of ice cream. So in your daily life, you have a choice between these different flavors of happiness. You choose and decide. So my main, task has been to introduce people to the 5th flavor, the spiritual flavor of happiness. So I am primarily involved in helping people understand that And to do that, what do you need to do in your schedule? One who manages their 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. becomes successful in their 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So my main task in life is help people manage their 9 p.m. to 9 a.m., which is from sleeping at the right time, getting up at the right time, taking care of their body, doing some meditation, and doing the right kind of morning breakfast, and beginning the day with the right intention, inspiration, integrity, intelligence, and intensity. When you do all of these together, you're all set for a long, long way, because happiness does not mean lack of obstacles or difficulties, but the ability to transform that obstacle and difficulties into stepping stones to success. And that's how we teach people how you can transform your impediments into impact. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can you please hand it to the lady over here, second row? Yeah.
Hello, my name is Shehla, and whenever I do something and I'm interested in this simple thing, and I get upset, I didn't other things, whatever didn't, and for example, I want to learn English language, and I so upset for I can't learn Germany language, or rise. I can't interested in rise car, and I can't nothing.
Wants to answer? Thank you for your question.
Thank you for your question. Firstly, your English is amazing, so well done.
I want that.
And
I try learn.
And I actually resonate with that question. We often, even with me, I want to do lots of things. I want to achieve lots of things. I want to learn lots of things. And sometimes I feel like, why haven't I done this? Why haven't I done that? And, the mindset is always we want to do lots. And then we feel guilty that we haven't done enough. It's actually a symptom of wanting to achieve more and more. And you can fall into this trap of wanting to do more and achieve more and do more. But I think since I've become more and more self-aware, more grounded, more spiritual, I've come to realize that really, look at what you have achieved and focus on just a few things. And if you focus on them few things and do them well, then you'll feel more happier inside. Sometimes we don't appreciate what we do. We don't reflect and say, oh, actually, I've done something really good. We don't look back enough. And one practice that I do that really helps me to really just deeply understand and appreciate what I've achieved and done is journal, is to write every day, just write something that I'm grateful for, write something that I have achieved, write something that was positive. They often say when you write a checklist, why is it nice to write checklists? Is because when you go and tick the checklist, you feel, oh, I've achieved something. So when you set goals and you look back at them and just feel, actually, you know what? I should be proud that I have learned English so well, or I have achieved this thing so well. So one is using that idea, and that's helped me a lot, is going yourself and writing, reflecting, journaling. And the second thing that's helped me a lot, and I would say I'd recommend this for everyone, is find someone in your life that believes in you more than you believe in yourself. Okay? I'm sure there is someone in your life that believes in you more than you believe in yourself.
My mother.
Your mother, yes. So if you have that person and you regularly check in and speak to them, they will give you confidence. They will give you encouragement. They will tell you, actually, no, you are doing amazing. You are doing something great. And inside, you will feel that. So therefore, all of you, I recommend, if you don't have that person, find that person. And I'm sure you all have that one person, at least one person. Surround yourself with people that believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And with that, you'll really be successful. So
Thank you.
thank you. And
Over there.
these two are great examples of that, actually.
Can we also ask, sorry guys, I see your arms as well. It's just we want to split between two.
Okay, my question actually has two parts. First of all, when was the moment you decided to take a step forward and make a change in the society? And what would you suggest to young people who also wants to do so, but they don't believe in themselves or they don't have enough resources? What would be your suggestion to them?
Okay, so yes, so let me play back to make sure I understand. So the question is, what would you advise for those who want to make a change but don't believe in their ability to do so? And the other part was?
The other part was, when was the moment you decided to take a step forward?
Ah, great question. So let me start with that question. When you asked the question, what flashed into my mind?
Do you want to use this microphone?
Can you hear me? Okay. So when you asked that question, the first thing that flashed in my mind was actually when I started meditating. Garanga spoke about this very wonderfully, that actually I realized looking back that when I started to make some changes in myself, it was automatically having more impact on others. So that's the first point. And how do we advise someone who wants to make that change but does not believe in their ability to do so? It's a counterintuitive answer. You see, I would say this, and it's really changing the paradigm. Start walking the path and the path will become clear. If we wait until we believe that we can do something, before we do something, there are many things in our society and in our world that would never happen. Think about this carefully. Every single one of us in this room, we walked into this room, we walked into this building. At one point, we were a baby and we were crawling on the floor. What happened was we first tried to walk. And when we tried to walk, we found that we could walk. The baby, because a child is, it's a few months old, it's not intellectualizing, it's not figuring out, I've got the right muscle structure, I can figure out how to do this, I moved like this. We were seeing other people around us. And what we did is by making the endeavor, we brought out our ability. I was discussing this with my wife yesterday. We were talking about confidence. She said something very beautiful. She said, confidence is the bridge between potential and performance. So sometimes we have confidence that makes us something happen, but sometimes it happens just because we make the endeavor. So I would say, let life surprise you. First, try, and you can try in small ways or big ways. You can try with friends, without friends. Try in different ways. Consider life to be like an experiment. Let me just try first and see what happens. If it works, wonderful. If it doesn't work, there's no loss. But if it does work, every time you achieve something, it gives you even more confidence to try and to step into the unknown and to realize the gifts that have been lying inside you, but which you didn't even know about yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nargis, and my question is, how can we deal with anger issues? As you mentioned, we can not purposefully affect other people who are surrounded by us. And, in my opinion, there are two types of people. First type is the ones who show their negative emotions at the moment where it happens, when it happens. And the other ones are the ones who are more patient people and keep the offense to themselves and collect it. At one point, they just explode like a bomb. How could you help us to improve ourselves at this point?
Thank you, Nargis, for that beautiful question.
Thanks.
In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Trividam narakasyedam dwaram nashanam kamam krodham tatalobam tasmat etat trayam tajet. He says there are three gates to hellish experience. What are the three gates? Lust, greed, and anger. When uncontrolled, makes our life hellish. I was giving a talk at MIT in Boston. I had prepared a PowerPoint, and there was somebody who was operating the LCD projector. And I was standing on the podium, and the projector was down. And for some time, the person on the projector was trying, and he could not get it to work. Then he came up on the stage, and then he said, I'm sorry, the projector is not working at MIT. I said, it's supposed to be Institute of Technology, and technology is failing here? What is going on? He said, you depend on your God and give your lecture. I said, thanks for telling my philosophy to me. But I could not say anything because the topic of my lecture was overcoming anger. And the first slide was, things will not always work the way you expect. And therefore, all of us have that experience. There is a gap between expectation and reality. And therefore, if you are standing in front of a skyscraper building, 40-story building, which is almost 400 meters tall. There is a 400-meter tall building, and you are standing there 5.5, 6 foot, and you look up. Can you come to the height of that building? Can you match the height of the building? Can you become as tall as the building? No. Sometimes problems in life come in front of us, just like this. And we just keep looking, wondering, how will I ever overcome this situation? But there is one way. You sit in a flight and go 40,000 feet in the sky, and you look down. The same skyscraper building looks like a matchbox. Has the size of the building changed? Yes or no? Has the size of the building changed? Yes or no? Has your size changed? Has your height changed? But what has changed? Your perspective. And therefore, you have invested 2 hours of your precious afternoon hearing from the 4 of us. Why? Because there is a war going on between pill and perspective. Today, the narrative is, you have any mental health problem, pop the pill. But we say there is an alternative. Through philosophy, you help adjust perspectives. And therefore, When you look at the same issue from a different angle, different height, different perspective, the problem has not changed. You have not changed, but your perspective, the angle has changed. What does that do? You are still helpless, but you are no longer hopeless. And the 2 hours you have spent here is simply to go home with one word resonating in your ears and in your mind and in your hearts and in your intellect, which is, however difficult circumstances may be in my life, however helpless I may ever become, I should never become hopeless. And therefore the purpose of all education, purpose of all philosophy, the purpose of all inspiration and motivation is to keep that spark of hope alive. Because as long as you have hope and you have no other asset, you can do everything. You have all the other assets, but you have lost hope, you cannot do anything. Therefore, you need to be in the association of such people who have positive perspectives powered by philosophy. Positive perspectives powered by philosophy. And then you go home carrying the greatest gift of hope. When someone has hope, however helpless situation may become, they will never give up. Thank you.
Thank you a lot for answering this question.
Hello. My question is, what's the meaning of successful, and does earning more money is enough for being successful? The teenagers like us thinking about earning some money is make us successful nowadays. Is it healthy mind or?
Does money mean success?
Yeah.
It's a good question. Yeah, according to that logic, but we have one of the most successful people in the world right now sitting with us. What I'm going to do something is unplanned. I'm going to put somebody on the spot here. So in the audience sitting here, we have an extremely esteemed educator, and she is working with schools in Azerbaijan and trying to reset the mindset for children of what does it mean to be successful. So I'm going to ask her to share something on what does it mean to be successful, and just give an idea of what we're actually trying to do in our schools to reset that mind of what does it mean to be successful. So she spoke last time, and I think it's really important we also hear from her. Her name is Nandarani Palmer, and she is leading an amazing education project which is centered around redefining success and looking at the education system that teaches us that money means you're successful, a good job means you're successful. If you have a wife, kids, a nice house, a nice car, it means you're successful. But actually, that is not true, because most people who have this aren't happy. Most people who have this looking back and thinking, why did I do this? Why have I been chasing somebody else's goal? So Nandarani, if it's okay with you, to share with us, to share with the students here, your perspective on what does it mean to be successful. Please give her a big round of applause. She is doing absolutely amazing work for the school system. So,
hello, young ladies and gentlemen.
For a teacher, one of the most beautiful things, our profit as a teacher is to see the human spirit flourish. So when we talk about what, sir, as you said, young man, what's your name?
Said.
Said, you asked a very important question, Said, and that is that how do we, as young people, understand the meaning of life and what is successful? We know that research tells us, educational, pedagogical research tells us that when we have young children, they're so innately connected to their own spirit, their own selves. They don't have an understanding of success or failure. You will probably know that. When I was a young girl, my father's driver, I asked him, I think I was only 5 years old, and I said, could you stop the car, please? And I jumped out, went into the toy shop, and I said, I'd like to have this, 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 and just charge it to my father's account. Of course, when I got home that evening, when my father found out, he was really angry. So when we're young children, we don't have an understanding of lack. But what happens, the research is telling us that when children start school, they have this enormous potential to be deeply tuned into who they are. They don't have feelings of shame and humiliation and guilt. But as soon as children start going into school and they're performing, as Gaurang Das told us, and Rajiv has told us, and Ed has told us, that we may be defined by the outcomes that we perform, the exam results, whether it's English, whatever it is that I want to succeed, we feel that we're judged. Now, when that happens to children when they're at school, education is really, really important. But what I'm trying to tell you is what is really important for all of us to consider about the meaning and the value of life is that we have to tell children they're worthy despite an education, despite having something that we prize. So for me, I always thought I wasn't very intelligent because the people around me, the children around me, the teachers around me valued having those high grades. So then what did I do? I went on a journey to try and be successful. So I got a degree, then I got another degree, then I got a fellowship at Oxford, and then I got another degree. And then I realized, oh, this isn't my idea of success. So each one of you will be holding, I think sometimes that will hold you back what you think is success. And the only way you're going to find it is, as Ed said, the M bit, tuning into yourself. Stop listening to what other people are telling you is success. Find in yourself that part of your eternal loveliness that already knows what success you are, because everybody carries that success. But if you are not authentic, you will not find it. And then what happens to people when they're not authentic? They think they know everything. They want to control others. And that's what happens. Life becomes so unhappy. So the project we're doing at the moment is about enabling, what we want to do is protect young children's spirituality so that they can actually grow and flourish. They don't have the limitations that I must earn money, because money will come if you're successful. But actually they come with the idea that they're really firmly rooted in their identity, their spiritual identity, their local identity. That's with friends and having good connections. Then that's the community, like the Azerbaijani culture, and then wider into the world. And that's what successful is like. It's not the Prada handbag and it's not the Ferrari car, but it's deep inside connecting to who you are. And that's what we're working on. Well, actually, Miss Layla wants this. Miss Layla Khanum, she's the one driving this. And so I hope I have answered your question. education is not successful unless it enables the person to find the truth of who they are. Otherwise, what are we educating? So I'm going to stop here. I hope that's okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think we've got one last question. Can you just raise your hand really high? Who has a question? Just raise your hands really high. How many questions are left pending? There's how many questions left? How many did we count left? Sorry, I just want to get hands of how many questions there are in total. How many we've got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15. Okay, there's at least 15 questions left. We are coming to an end as well. So we have an option maybe what we could do. I'm just suggesting this. We'll take this one last question. And then those who want to stay behind can stay and we can have a more intimate Q&A discussion. And then after that, also we can have, is that okay with the organizers? Okay, perfect. So we'll do a photo. We'll also share, we have another event coming up on Sunday. So our dear Jamila will tell you about that as well after the question and handles as well. So I think this gentleman at the top.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Elham. My question I want to ask. Firstly, I want to admit that during your speech, I noticed something. Only the last speaker, I'm sorry if I misspell it, Gorenga does. He admitted, he showed us the negative side, tips that carries the negative character. So I want to ask from Ed and Rajiv what we should avoid to be a conscious change maker, because if we talk about positive things, it's easy to talk about it, and the most part of it we already understand, and we just need to find the right direction. But to think about negative things, it's not easy for us. So I think it's important to just know about it.
Thank you for your question. So I'll try and be brief. The most important thing to avoid in order to become a conscious change maker is ego. And by ego, we mean arrogance, feeling we're better than other people, pride. Ego, you could say, are all the things which are the qualities that make us lose appreciation for people. So arrogance, pride, envy, all of the negative qualities. There's a story and there's an ancient tradition, and this is something that my teacher, and actually Garanga's teacher, they sometimes share this. My teacher, when he was before he passed away, he mentioned this story that within each and every one of us, there's a good dog and a bad dog fighting for supremacy, fighting for control. The good dog represents all of our good qualities. The bad dog, to your point, represents all of our egoistic, negative qualities, anger, pride, etc. And so my teacher asked, in this battle for control between the good dog and the bad dog, he asked a friend, he said, which one of these two dogs will win the battle? And when my teacher asked his friend wasn't sure what to say. So my teacher answered the question for him. He said, whichever one you feed the most, that's the dog that will win. So to your point, it is key to avoid those egoistic tendencies. But how to avoid those egoistic tendencies is also a very deep principle. We avoid the egoistic tendencies by not feeding the ego. We avoid the egoistic tendencies by not acting on our pride, oh, I'm going to boast about how I did this, how I'm better than other people. We avoid anger, as Auranga said, by gaining perspective. This too shall pass. We avoid envy by not comparing ourselves to other people, but rather comparing ourselves to who we were yesterday. So what needs to be avoided is feeding that bad dog. Yeah, that's the way. But to add one special secret, you can starve the bad dog by feeding the good dog. There is a connection between the right things to do and the wrong things. If I focus on the right things, I starve out the wrong things as well. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
So from my perspective, there's an ancient concept. It talks about 3 modes of nature. There's 3 energies that are playing constantly. There's energy in the mode of ignorance, goodness, and passion. So something in the ignorance means it feels bad now and bad for you later. So generally these are things like, alcohol, drugs, something that's really going to degrade you and feels low. It's laziness, oversleeping. And then this mode of energy in the mode of passion. That nice pizza. Who here has pizza as a student? Put your hands up. Okay, not many. What's the go-to food here as for students? Is there a place? What's the favorite food? Which one? Dinner? Okay. Sorry? Sandwich. That's the only thing you can afford, sandwiches. Okay, next time we come, we're going to bring food for you all. So there's a food in the mode of passion. So it's something that feels good now, but it's bad for you. Overly sugary food, etc. Or whatever it is, something that feels good now, but bad for you later. And then there's things in the mode of goodness. So waking up early in the morning, doing meditation, being conscious, structuring your lifestyle. So the negative to avoid is slipping in this ignorance and passionate state. That is, I would say, is the energy, that material energy that really grasps you. And it's an interesting concept because when you look at everything, you can categorize in these 3 different energies. So mode of goodness means it feels difficult now, but it's good for you later. Like exercising, like going to the gym. It's hard at the beginning, good for you later. Eating well, good for you at the beginning, good for you later. Hard at the beginning, good for you later. One for all of you, studying for your exams in advance. Okay. Who here studies for the exam in advance? Let's get who studies 6 months before their exam? Who studies 3 months before the exam? Okay, who study? Yeah, you can put your hand up. One person. Who studies 1 month before their exam? Okay. Who studies 1 week before their exam? Okay, good. Who studies 1 day before their exam? Hey. Okay, we've got the videos. We'll get the videos. Okay, great. You see, the people that put their hand up 1 day in advance, I should study 6 months before, but still, we wait to the last day, right? So we have to see, the more we take the difficult route, the more it's going to reward us later. So it's just being aware of these energies, and I'm also learning to grasp them energies. So it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. Okay.
Okay. So can we switch to the next slide, please? Whoever is handling the screen, can you switch to the next slide, or should I do it? Okay. So just a short announcement before we take a group photo. So this is a QR code for registration for the event that's happening on Sunday at 2 p.m. It's Seabreeze Event Hall. It's 13:30, so 1:30 p.m. Again, the panel of great speakers. I'll be moderating. It's going to be a bigger event, and you can take a picture now so you can use the QR code to register for the event. It's open. Everyone is welcome. Bring your family, your friends, whoever you think might need to listen to this beautiful, insightful talks. Okay, so thank you. What is it? One more slide? Okay, sorry. One more slide. What is the next slide? Oh, okay. I forgot about that. So we are going to have a panel or just a discussion, more like a podcast, but in front of everyone. Rajiv and I are going to talk about etiquette and spirituality and how the two of them are interlinked. The event is happening on October 1st, which is Wednesday at 2 p.m. at Baku State University. Again, you can register. We don't have a QR code here, but I think you can just, we'll send it out to you. Everyone is welcome. Okay, so the university is going to handle that. Everyone is welcome to join. It's going to be an interesting talk if you're interested in why manners or good manners are interlinked with spirituality and why are we here on earth and why do we have to present ourselves in the best possible light. And there is actually more. You can follow all three great speakers on their Instagram pages. Take a picture of that. Or you can also scan there in order to join them on school. So you can follow them and keep up. Maybe you can ask questions. Yeah, you can interact with them and tag them. So thank you so much for your beautiful, yes? Yeah, I will tell them to remain seated. Just wanted to thank you guys for being so patient, so attentive, because attention is a big resource. Thank you for being so dedicated and attentive. I appreciate you being here. And please remain seated because our speakers are going to step on the stairs and we're going to take a group pictures. Just remain seated, okay? For another 5 minutes of patience.